So when is the last time you struck up a conversation with someone you didn't know? We sent the CBC's Jim Agapito to ask that very question and to see if we still have the reputation as friendly Manitoba.
Branka Jelsik. I was brought up that way. My parents always say you have to say hi to people. You just can't walk by like by tree. There are people, so you have to say hi. If you don't say anything else, just be polite and say that.
Julia DeJarlis. It's just a nice thing to do. Like, it doesn't have to be creepy or weird.
I'm Elizabeth Ledoux. Yeah, I feel like it's a nice thing. Like, you don't have to be a creep just to say hi. Like, it's just a nice thing. And it doesn't have to be weird. Like, it's just normal.
My name's Pat Kehoe. I mean, other than in a restaurant with a waitress, just on the street, not very often.
And is that something that you crave? Would you like to talk to more strangers or people you haven't met more?
Sometimes. It depends what you're doing and where you are. Yeah, if you're trying to learn something about an area, I'll talk to strangers. But if I'm just minding my own business, I like being alone.
My name is Element Everest Blanks. I am the music director for a radio station and a cultural content creator from the United States. I am talking to a stranger right now. I have no idea who you are, but the great thing about talking to strangers is you get a different perspective on life based on where they are, who they are, what they do, and how they see the world. So it's a benefit to talk to strangers.
Maya Senchuk. In today's day, it is seen as more of an odd thing, just because the world's changed. I feel like just because of technology and social media, and it's not I just feel like the world's not as innocent anymore, maybe. So people keep to themselves a lot.
When was the last time you struck up a conversation with a stranger?
Oh, actually, we were in Vancouver just last weekend, and we walked in Burnaby. And then the man drove with the car, and he stopped and says, "Oh, it's so nice to see the couple walking in the morning." He says, "How is outside?" And so we kind of had a little bit chat about it's slippery and it's nice to compare to Winnipeg.
At a gas station a couple days ago, when I was waiting for my friend to unlock the car, he was like, "Hey, locked outside?" And I was like, "Yep."
Okay, well,
Awkward.
it was awkward. Okay, tell me more.
Being friendly though, I feel like that's a normal thing for people to just be friendly, and yeah, I didn't mind it.
You go into a restaurant or a bar and you see kids sitting there just on their phones. There'll be 6 people and they're all looking at their phone. I don't understand that. Even without being strangers, you're not having dialogue amongst yourselves, and that's just sort of weird to me.
Have you ever said anything to them about that?
I have to my own children, for sure, yeah. It's like, put the phone away. Let's have a discussion before we depart ways here this afternoon.
Do you think that we should try and meet more people in the flesh? Is that something we should do more of?
Yeah.
I feel like yes,
Yeah.
definitely not one-on-one, but in group gatherings.
Yeah,
with
because
friends.
I think lots of people now are just kind of addicted to meeting people on social media rather than I think it's important to kind of make a connection with them in person and then maybe lead up to that social media point.
So I think we're missing that connection, and technology is moving us forward in so many different ways, but person to person, we're moving backwards.
It's kind of strange time, so we do also teach people don't talk to strangers. I think that's one thing when you are kind of as a parent or as a school, don't talk to strangers, so that may have impact on not saying hi to the pass-by. And I teach my kids who are big or my grandkids, texting is not the same as talking to somebody because the words can be interpreted in different ways, and somebody can just, use the meaning what they think about. It doesn't have to be. You can always, when you're talking to people, explain yourself if you're saying something wrong or somebody take it wrong. So,
what do you say then? How do you meet strangers that want to maybe feel welcomed here to Manitoba?
For me, I work at the hospital, and I know there's quite a few people that work there who are new to Manitoba, and I just kind of ask them how are they liking the weather, if they're used to the cold or not, just kind of asking them random questions just so they feel more welcome and they don't feel like a stranger to us. So
Yeah, and just kind of being friendly to everyone, no matter who they are and everything.
So this is my second time coming to Manitoba, and it's my second time because the first time was so amazing. I wish we had more of that in the States. We don't have this dedication to the idea of reparations or the idea of atonement, those types of things. That's what makes places friendly, because we can recognize our history, we can observe the fact that those things happen, but we can repair. We can slowly walk ourselves back. And we're not having a great time in the States right now because we're not doing that. We're doing the opposite. Manitoba's very friendly.
The CBC's Jim Agapito speaking with folks about whether they like to have small talk with strangers. Now, our next guest says there are benefits to shooting the breeze with someone new, but we might have lost some of that ability to interact with our neighbors because of COVID lockdowns. Janine Hubbard is a psychologist based out of St. John's, Newfoundland, and joins us now by Zoom. Hi, Janine.
Hi, good afternoon. It is so nice to actually get to see you.
It's nice to see you as well, because we're, of course, talking by Zoom. And there is something about being able to see people face to face, isn't it, as part of talking to strangers? What is it? Let's talk about the benefits here of talking to strangers. What sort of stands out for you when you think about that?
Well, it's interesting. And of course, there's personal variables. There are some people who need more social interactions and really feed off of them and thrive off of them. And other people who are quite happy to go, quite some time with very minimal social interactions. So we know that just exists as, personality factors. But what we also know is that social connections, social interactions are an essential human need. That ability to connect with others, to feel sense of a community. We know that like the World Health Organization and the U.S. Surgeon General have declared loneliness an epidemic. So we've realized that whether it's something that you thrive on and really enjoy, or whether it's something you need to do effort, making social connections, even tiny, minuscule ones like waving hello to a stranger, can make a really big difference on our physical and our mental well-being.
Something that I took with me when I moved here from small town northern British Columbia was the wave. Every time I drive by, it doesn't matter if it's here in Winnipeg or if I'm in a small town, insert any small town. If I see someone, I usually wave, and there is something that feels nice about that connection. I also have to say, I was out this weekend to an event. And someone came up to me and said, "Hi, are you Faith Fundal?" And of course, I had never met them, didn't know them. I said, "Yes, nice to meet you." And she said that she is a listener from Dauphin. But I specifically remember thinking, you are a stranger, but also I don't feel like you're a stranger because now we've connected. I know it's a one-way thing, you listen, but it sort of made me feel that whatever that is, how would you describe what that feeling is for people who experience similar things?
Well, it is a real grounding and a sense of connection. And I'll be honest, people who work in radio have no idea how intimately connected complete strangers feel about that situation. I'll be honest, the first time I met our local morning show host, I sort of said to him, I wake up in bed with you every morning. Like, this feels very strange, but you feel almost an artificial connection, which is a different form of connection. And you know what? There's something very powerful for that. And we do rely on our media to get us through things like blackouts and blizzards. And so here in Newfoundland and Labrador, we have the infamous wink and a nod.
Oh, right.
That is kind of that very subtle, doesn't matter if you know the person. Talking to people in grocery lines, saying hello to the cleaners as you're walking down the hall. These are all essential, what we call micro social interactions. And one of the things that we discovered during lockdown was just how valuable they were. You wouldn't think you would miss saying, good morning when you get your cup of coffee. You don't know the person's name. You've, never said anything other than good morning, thank you. How are you? But we've discovered that can really be very important. So it doesn't have to be going out and finding a best friend. And it doesn't have to be engaging in a lengthy conversation with a stranger, but that lovely Canadian mutual bonding over whatever the weather is doing on that given day. You know what? You always have a built-in topic to start at least a brief, hey, how you doing?
I've heard from people who have made it in an intentional thing to acknowledge other people. But, I don't know if it's a but, and they also manage this anxiety over saying hello or even waving to someone. What do you say to people who might feel those sorts of things about how to manage that, especially if they want to engage with people but can't because it just doesn't feel good?
For sure. And like I say, I'm someone where it comes very naturally. I've always talked to strangers in the grocery line, which is ironic because I grew up in Ontario, where if you talk to people in the elevator, they either thought you were selling them something,
Right.
trying to convince them to join a cult, or trying to hit on them. And it's like, no, we're just saying hi. So for some people, it's personal factors. For others, it's cultural factors. Either being tending to reach out or tending to be more withdrawn. So it is going out and being really intentional. A compliment to a stranger goes a long way, so long as it's sincere. Um, Anyone out there, if you see someone walking a dog, that's your built-in, or if you want to socialize more or borrow someone's dog, go volunteer for the local dog shelter, because it is amazing how that is an instant bonding and connection, and a few minutes with a stranger that can be very intentional, and leaves you feeling quite fulfilled afterwards.
In that tape that we just heard from Jim Agapito, one of the folks talked about stranger danger. I mean, how do you decide when to say hello, especially when it comes to considering stranger danger?
Well, and I do think there are some safety factors. And when in doubt, listen to your spidey sense. Obviously, some of the things I'm suggesting are things you do in public spaces with lots of people around. It's interesting, where you feel safe. And if a conversation starts to go in a direction that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's when you kind of go, oh, lovely chatting with you. I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye. See you later.
And that's not rude. You don't know this person. You don't owe them anything. And if you're not feeling good about it, very quick to keep yourself in safety. And it is really interesting, though. So we sometimes see some gender and some cultural differences in terms of I just want to say hi to somebody, but I'm worried they might be intimidated. I'm worried they might think it's, come on, or something along those lines.
So when you think of the people that you've interacted with, or the people, whether they're a client or not, what's one thing you think people should consider when they're going to say hello to a stranger?
Look for openness. And if you are someone who wants to do more socializing, you need to analyze. Is it someone who's there with their earbuds in, staring at their phone, body language closed off? Are you someone who is approachable? Do you smile? Do you, have your posture up and you're looking around? And that's far more likely, are you looking around? Do you briefly make eye contact and, just kind of acknowledge that there's another human being in your presence? Those are all things on both sides that can help to make it feel safe to, comment on the weather or just say good morning.
And trust your spidey senses.
Yes.
Janine, thank you for making this space. It's nice to see and hear you.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope people remember that this is something that is good for your mental health, even if it sometimes feels awkward and uncomfortable. Make those little hellos. Or a wink and a nod if you want to take up the Newfoundland approach.
I love that. We'll bug you again soon. Take care, Janine.
Take care.
Janine Hubbard is a psychologist based out of St. John's, Newfoundland. So let us know when the last time you spoke with a stranger. Call our listener line 204-788-3663, 204-788-3663. And if you ever see me out there and you're too shy to say hello, please don't be shy. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Come say hello, because I'd love to say hello.